We're going to do new. Do something else. Do more. Do the impossible. Do better. Do good. Do big. Do small. Do it wrong. Do it again. Do it ourselves. Do it together. Do what no one else has done. Do what will become big. Do the same. Do different. Do everything. Do something. Do new.
Good afternoon and welcome to a webinar from Linköping University. Today we're going to learn more about our master's program in Ecology and Sustainable Development. I'm here with three guests, but before I let them introduce themselves, I'll just go through a few of the practicalities. This webinar is being recorded, so will be available on our webinars page and the program homepage. We are going to be talking for about 20 to 30 minutes, and that part is the part that will be recorded. We'll also then open up for questions from you viewers, but that bit will only be for those of you who are attending live. In the bottom of the screen, you'll find a chat function and a Q&A function. Please put your questions in the Q&A section. In the chat, say hello to each other, where you're from, and so on, but keep the questions in the Q&A section. You can ask questions in the recording as well, and those questions will be forwarded to us. Without further ado, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Would you like to start?
I'm Carl Bergman, Associate Professor in Conservation Biology and Senior Lecturer at the Master Program, Ecology and Sustainable Development.
Thank you.
And my name is Rasmus Liding, and I'm a second-year student at this program.
And my name is Mandy, and I'm also a second-year student at this program.
Brilliant, thank you, thank you. And my name is Therese Winder, and I'm a Communications Officer at the university. Let's talk a bit about the program. Let's learn more about it. If I start with you, why do we offer this program?
Well, the society of today have very many global challenges that we need to solve, and many of them, if not all of them, are related to the environment. We have like loss of biodiversity, and due to that, ecosystem degradation, soil erosion, water scarcity, and that has enormous effects on the society then. And on top of that, we have climate change also that further complicates this then. And of course, all these kinds of problems need ecological knowledge if we want to solve them in a sustainable way. And the aim of this program then is to prepare students to apply their ecological knowledge to solve these problems.
So it's kind of biology centered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ecology, but interacting with the society to find sustainable solutions. So that's what the program is all about.
Thank you. And you too, you're now in your second year, but why did you choose this program?
I can go first. I did my bachelor here at Linköping University. So that's when I really got hooked on the ecology part. I had Kalle also there during my 3 years. And when I was down there, I felt, well, I've learned a lot, but I still need to learn. I want to learn more. I want to get a deeper understanding of ecology and what I can do. So that's, I was thinking, should I apply somewhere else? But then I'm here now, and I got some contacts with the teachers, and I heard this program is really good. And they included some internship and a year-long master thesis. So that's why it drew me in to stay here and continue my studies here.
Thank you. And how about you, Mandy?
I did my bachelor's in biology, so there's a lot of different things you learn in that time. And I realized I was really into ecology, but more than that, into conservation work, or I wanted to learn about conservation work. And I didn't get any education about that. And when I found this program, I thought it would be the right fit to learn more and to see if that's for me.
Yeah. And have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, for sure.
Good. I'm glad. Let's have a look at the structure of the program. We have a slide. It's a 2-year program, which is split into 4 semesters. But let's start with semester 1. You begin with methods. I think that's quite
methods in ecology. Yeah, basically give you the the tools to work with ecological questions as a student. So it's about system thinking. You work also to analyze data, to extract data from scientific literature, and so like a basic course with giving them a lot of tools to be able to continue.
Quite theoretical
Both
course.
theoretical and a little bit of field work in that part also.
As well. Okay. And this is so these 4 courses that you see in the first semester, they are all mandatory, or
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you do that for also I should say that the semester is about 20 weeks. So do these take up the same amount of time? No, the modeling is a longer course than the others.
Yeah, slightly longer. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's have a look though at the population ecology. What do you do in that course?
Well, it's all about populations of animals and plants. Then to look in the concepts and of population ecology and the application then to environmental problems, because we are sort of looking into conservation of species, of course. That's all about populations, but also biological control and these kind of things that are related to how populations behave.
Mm-hmm. And what was your experience of these? I mean, these 2 first courses. Do you remember?
Yeah. The first one was it was like you got really thrown into it. It was like a bit different from the bachelor, but it was so it was a bit stressful in the beginning. But then you got into the work, but it was really good. Like it was a good introduction for what we are gonna do during this year.
Yeah, I think that's where you kind of got a taste of what the year would be like.
Okay.
So that's where you start with your first computer work with analyzing data, but you also go out in field a little bit, where you do infographics and see that there's more about this topic than just what you learn. It has to do with communities and ecology and biology and politics. So
and how you communicate.
and how you
knowledge.
communicate all of that knowledge. So I think that's where you see what this whole year kind of will be like in a compressed form, I would say.
And was it different compared to the academic setting that you had been in before?
I would say for me, very much so, because I studied in Austria and Italy before. So things here in Sweden are done quite differently to what I'm used to, but in a really good way.
Okay, in what way? Have you got any examples?
So there's a lot more teamwork. It's very much communicating with other people and working together, and more about solving problems than just learning things by heart. So I think this is more a problem-solved learning process than just knowing facts.
Yeah. And this was something that you were familiar with from your bachelor.
Yeah, but it became more independent during this master's, because you don't have, of course, you had assistance of the teachers, but not as much. Like it's more, you need to figure this out by yourself. You read different reports and get your own information and stuff
that you then bring into kind of a team setting.
Yeah. And that's was so good with all these courses. It's like you could work in groups, even if you turn it in independently. You could work together and like learn together, and like there wasn't no written exams. You sat there together, learned together, and then turned in different reports or went on seminars. Seminars or
Okay. Thanks. So that was the first half of the first semester, and the rest of the autumn semester. Let's have a look. So you have modeling of biological systems and ecosystem services. Can you tell us more about those courses?
Yeah. So modeling is sort of after the population ecology, understanding how populations might be affected by harvest and these kind of things. Let's say you have a question: how will these fish population be affected by increased harvest or something? Then in this course, you learn how to build models to estimate the effects. So you build your own models in this course. So first you ask a question, and then you put the factors together, and then you try to build your own models.
Okay. So again, in a way, learning how to communicate your findings and making them and kind of predicting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we need to be able to say something for the future, like 100 years time or 10 years time, we need some models to base these predictions on.
Okay. And then the last one, ecosystem services in CSR. CSR stands for?
CSR, corporate social responsibility, and that is a company thing.
Yep.
And this is actually a pretty cool course because you are working together with civil engineers in industrial economy. So it sits together with ecologists, and they have a case study with regard to sustainability that they need to solve together with a sustainable solution. It's about optimizing restoration of rainforest. And that results in pretty interesting discussions.
No, you get like much more interdisciplinary approach.
Yes.
Which is what will happen, or what will need to happen once you're out working. Which one was your favorite? Your course in the first semester?
It's quite hard. I think I liked all of them because none of them were just one thing. So each course always incorporated writing, but also coding, and also presenting stuff and teamwork, or being also really creative and making infographics. So I think no course is just one thing. So you always have to do different disciplines in every single course. So
I think I gotta say it was the conservation course because partly because you got to try to, like, okay, you have a specific budget to restore a rainforest. How to do this? So like it was a lot of reading on it, how you could do it, what plants are natives there, which are the best, but also working in different programs, as in GIS, to like map it and draw the area you wanted to restore, and then working another program called Invest, which like see which benefits will we get if we restore a forest patch close to the river in carbon sequestration or cleaning the water and stuff like that.
Okay, so you kind of like, if you kind of just look at the name ecology and sustainable development, you think, well, it's biology, but it seems really broad. It takes in quite a lot of other perspectives as well.
Yeah, in this case, it's also about economics for the society and benefits for the society. So, and of course, to optimize things, the society also need to profit on the ecosystems, of course, and you can do this in different ways. And this course is all about optimizing all these things, and also the company then with the branding for the company. What can they do? Can they benefit also from being a sustainable company? So all of these questions was up at the same time, and then trying to produce some infographics to communicate this makes it fun, hopefully.
Yeah, it sounds it. It sounds kind of more, rather than sitting with, on your own with books and kind of reading about certain things. You get this different. Yeah.
It feels like you do it for real, even if it's just theoretical work. It feels like this is something you could be doing in the future. So it feels it's a really good experience.
Let's have a look at the next. I think you're getting some heart eyes. So I think it's good what you're saying. Thank you for those emojis. There they are. What about the second semester? So that's the spring semester of your first year. You got another 4 mandatory courses?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about those.
The first one is we go even more into case studies now. This time you have real questions from the society with regard to agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, like this production of these things. So one thing was, for example, can a golf course create biodiversity?
Can it?
Yeah, it can, absolutely, if you do it in the right way. Or can we go from clear cutting to continuous cover forestry, so change the forestry? That was a question from the municipality. So you have real stakeholders in this course to act against. And I think, again,
I think that again brings those elements of realness to it, and understanding what you can actually do with the knowledge that you're gaining.
And then reading up and deliver something that is evidence-based and relevant for them.
And then the next course, I know that I'm quite excited to hear more about. The next course is case studies in conservation and sustainable development.
Yes, and this is a course where you link conservation of ecosystems with sustainable development. Basically, the question that the whole world is asking, can we do this? And we look at different, it's a case centered around different habitats. And it goes everything from picking out specific umbrella species, indicator species, and present research plans for them, down to, in the end, if we can conserve these species and at the same time address sustainable development for the local societies. And this is a case presented by WWF that is actually also coming to the course. So it's also a real case, or as real as you can get it. Yes, there are actually these kind of questions that WWF is
just how to combine the conservation bit that's so necessary with the fact that humans are also here, you know. And
absolutely, so you really need to combine these things, otherwise we will fail.
But within this course, there is also a field trip,
an optional field trip to actually visit these habitats that you are working with. So
if we go to the next slide, you'll see some photos.
Yeah, here are 4 of these habitats actually where we have been working with, and the students that have been visiting these type of habitats in Ecuador. And then Paramo, that's the high altitude habitats, and Choco Cloud Forest, the mid altitude, like 1,000, 2,000 meters on the western side of the Andes, and then eastern side of the Andes that has different species, and then of course going down to the lowland Amazon also then. And it's pretty amazing to see the students when they were actually able to visit the areas that they have been working with theoretically for
I can imagine, and it's so diverse with the different kind of the habitats, so within the same place.
Yeah.
How long do they go for?
This is 2 weeks.
Okay.
So 14 days.
14 days
in the field here.
Okay. Can we have a look at a few more slides? If we keep into the next slide. So that's which part of that? Is that the lowland?
The whole group, yeah. And
No,
this is Choco.
Okay.
Choco Rainforest.
So that's the whole group.
The whole group, and we take we make every day. We have presentations of the different groups responsible for their habitats, presenting what I have been looking at this specific habitat with regard to species and conservation and everything. And so we make everyday trips along trails and so on.
So everybody who wants to go can go?
Yes.
Or is there a limit?
There is a limit of 24 that we haven't reached. So either you go on this trip, there is a cost for this trip, and some students wants to go, and some students are just continuing the course back home with a debate project. This is also an interesting part of the course. Then.
Okay. And then there's two more images just to show you a bit. And this is the which bit?
Yeah, this is the eastern Andes now.
Okay, that's eastern.
So you see all the mosses high up in the high altitude forest, and they do some field work. So this specific group is responsible to teach the other groups to do some specific field work and come up with some interesting results, and then they present these results in them for the groups, and we set camera traps and so on. So we do some field work together with presentations on the field trip.
Is that kind of what you do in other courses as well, but in different settings in Sweden? Is this kind of could this be not a typical day, but could this be a illustration of part of another course as well, or is this specific to this course?
A few of the courses have some excursions, and in some other courses you have more of modeling and presentation, or infographics, or writing reports. And what you want to know more about this?
There's one part in, I don't remember if it was in this course, when we went out to both a nature reserve and looked at the amount of deadwood and stuff, and looked at the care cut and like see how the Swedish forestry is handling.
No, that's actually this course also.
Yeah.
So we do a
Okay.
visit to the Swedish nature also on this
Okay.
course. So
Oh,
all
that's
of the
cool as well.
students do that. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's one or two more images. I think there's one more.
One more, yeah.
Ah,
Yes.
you can make friends while you're there.
Giant earthworms
Wow.
and squirrel monkeys, and of course hummingbirds that you see a lot of, and
Yeah. So it's quite a special course.
quite a
A
special.
special course. And then the other two, I won't go back to that slide, but the other two courses for the rest of that semester, they were internship and it was preparation for the masters.
Yes.
So the internship, I think it's not on this because it's still the second slide, but I think the internship is interesting. Is that something all students do as
Yes.
part of the program?
Yes, it is.
So, and that's how many weeks?
6 weeks.
Yeah. And I think if you go to the next, I keep going slides, sorry. Poor Luke is, so if you keep going to the image, next one after that one. There we go. And that I think is you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing in that picture?
So I did an internship on Öland, so in
Mhm.
Sweden. It's a little island. And I was at a entomology research lab. And I learned to identify all insects by order. And then I also learned how to identify all Hymenoptera families. So what you know as wasps and bumblebees and
Okay.
yeah, all those things. So I learned a lot in those 6 weeks, and I saw like how you work in a lab and also take data outside. So that was a really cool time for me.
Were you outside a lot? I mean, was this?
In my internship, I was inside a lot. For my master thesis, I was outside a
Outside.
lot. So I had two extremes.
Two different.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's so if we go and the land visit, that was for your
Internship.
that was also
Yeah.
for the internship.
Yeah.
And then the next photo. If we there we go. That is you.
That is me, yes.
That is you. And what are you doing?
I'm looking at the lichens there, so on the picture for my master thesis. But on the other pictures, I was at the county administrator's office of Dalarna, which is a county more up north in Sweden, where I was on the nature conservation department. So I worked partly with the species that are threatened here, and there are different programs for them. So I was out there doing inventory of, for example, that flower, seeing how it was a flower that's likes fires, and seeing how it how it was there, and did it increase or not, and what effects of what we had done did it yeah,
Okay.
and some nature conservation fires to
So these fires is actually to increase the habitat quality
Yeah,
for this
exactly.
plant.
For that plant. Okay. Because some plants thrive on the kind of
Yeah.
I don't know the burnt ashes, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the internship. Do we help students find an internship, or did you guys find your own?
They need to find it themselves, but
Yeah.
I give them. I can also assist in giving some ideas,
Yeah.
and I usually give them a list of the former places where we had students. So it has been with some has been abroad, WWF India, but most of them are in Sweden, municipalities, county administration boards, or companies, or NGOs. Yeah, you name it. All of these places where you can work with environmental.
But
question
it's
and
quite easy to find. Right.
Yeah, so far no student has been without
Okay.
internship.
That's good. That's good. That's all I wanted to hear. So you do that, and then you start preparing for the master's thesis, which is a whole year.
Yeah.
Which is different to a lot of programs. In a lot of programs, it's one semester, but you get to spend the whole year doing it. What kind of so you were looking at butterflies?
Yeah.
You were looking at
I was looking at the deadwood and the species connected to them. So I was looking specifically at lichens, mosses, and wood fungi.
okay. So you were doing this. You were outside a lot, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're still doing it.
I'm still doing it. I'm just taking a pause because it came some snow, and I can't find my species on the deadwood if the snow is covering it.
Oh, and what about your butterflies?
I did it all summer long.
You did all
So
summer.
I
okay.
worked all summer long.
Okay. It's worth bearing in mind. What do you want to look for?
Yeah,
and-
do it in summer. No.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure there are other things you can look at in the winter, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you both did field-oriented
Yeah.
master thesis work, but also quite many do theoretical works and modeling of species and
Yeah.
so on. So it's a number of different things that you can do.
Yeah, that you can do. And what about so during the program, before your thesis, are there a lot of exams, or is it mainly, as you said, group work, presentations,
There
kind of
are
reports?
no exams in
No.
this program. There is only like you turn in projects or reports.
A lot of presentations.
Yeah, either in
Yeah.
groups or individually.
Thank you. So now that we've talked about the program, who is the program aimed at? I mean, you need a degree in biology.
You need at least a little bit of background in biology, conservation biology, or sustainable development with a little bit of ecology in it, and then this program is for you.
And personality. I mean, what do you say? What's the kind of key ingredients in a person's personality to kind of be successful on this program?
I think you should be able to take the initiative to do your own work, because even if it is a lot of teamwork, like you should give a lot to the team. Like everyone should do their own work. And it is a lot of work even if you're still in a team. So you should be able to show initiative, do your own work, and be able to communicate well with other people and get along well with other people to reach a good end process. I would
think
say
you really need to be driven, like wanting to work in the future in biology or ecology, like to make this work. Because if you're just I'm a bit interested, you won't. It won't fit you. I think you need to want it.
You need to want it. And I think it's a good thing that you do mention this thing about, well, two things really, that it's a full-time program, so it's 40 hours, and you do need to dedicate that. So it doesn't necessarily leave room for part-time work, and especially if you have to focus your time certain times of the year, it means it might be more hours because you have to kind of make use of summer, for example. But also the importance of the fact that when you're in a group and working and doing different parts, that everybody has to pull their weight. It's not it's not like, oh, this is great, there's 4 of us doing this report, I can
no, it won't be like that.
Even if you're in a group, you feel like we need more time of the week, we can't do this.
But you kind of learn from the others, but you're also expected to contribute a lot. So what about, if we're going to move on to questions in a minute, but I want to hear a bit about your experience as students and kind of student life, but being a student here. What do you think?
I think it's a great city to be a student in. It's not a large town, but it's get this kind of big city feeling, but still not too many people.
There's a huge campus here, so there's a lot of students, and therefore also a lot of student life, a lot of associations. It will be quite easy to make friends, I would say. So I think it's a great town for studying.
Okay. Do you find is it different, like way of life compared to what you're used to?
Yes, everyone is very kind. So you'll be really happy here, I think.
That's good. That's really good. And then future, what would you want to do with this degree? Do you know yet, or are you just focusing now on getting your master's thesis and then, or are you going to spend your life looking at deadwood?
Maybe. Well, I want to work with protecting forests and like finding areas that need protections, like very species rich and many threatened species in that area. So I want to work at maybe a county administration's board, or a company that does inventory for those, maybe, or other government organization, and like be out there and try find them and work to protect them. And I think this degree will really help me to do that.
You do that. What about you?
I would second that. I think from my thesis, I've seen that I really like this work where you are outside and see yourself how things actually look, and then you take that data and work with that data. So I would like to be involved in all steps of the work. I wouldn't want to just do one side of things. So I would really love to like really be involved in work, or like also for organizations. That would be really fun. But we'll see.
We'll see what you
What
end up
happens.
doing.
Yeah.
What do students tend to do? I mean, do you have experience? You still in touch with old students?
Absolutely. Actually, I meet a lot of my former students when I'm working now. Some of them are researchers. Some of them are at the county administration boards. We have one working at the forest company. One of the students that you are working together with sometimes. And I mean, also ecological consultancy companies, a lot of former students, so they end up sort of everywhere.
And I think with this sustainable development, I think CSR, I think that's is that a hot topic as well at the moment?
It is really a hot topic, and we have made some studies, and we saw that 90% of our students actually have a job in line with their studies. So that's
a high figure.
Really
that's really
high.
good. That's
Yeah,
really high.
Really high.
Well, that's good. Good. I think this sounds really exciting, actually. One last question before we move on. So this is going to be the end of the recorded part. But one piece of advice for, go back, talk to yourself from 2 or 3 years ago. What would you say? I wish I had done this.
Be prepared to sacrifice a lot of time, because you will need to do it. Like it's a really good dedication, and it's really fun, but also a lot.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. By you?
I would say don't be scared to ask questions, because from my background of studying, it's a lot more listening and not really questioning things or being involved. And I think that's a really big thing here, that you are actually involved and you're allowed to ask questions. So I think be brave to do that.
Be brave to do that.
You learn a lot from it.
Yeah. That's a good, because I think it's, it's first name basis. I heard you, refer to him as Kalle. It's not doctor, it's not professor. It's kind of, you're there to teach and guide, I think, the students in their learning, rather than be there to kind of correct them and catch them out.
Absolutely. These case studies that a lot of the courses is based on is actually that is, you need questions from the students. Otherwise, it won't work. So it works by asking questions, and that's the way forward. And with a lot of contact with other students and the teachers, and then that's the way forward.
I think that's the way in how you get, how you move forward in what you will do as well, in kind of seeking answers to challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're going to move on to the questions. So just for those of you who are watching the recording, have a look at our Instagram page. It's linköping.university. You've posted there.
Yeah,
I'm on there. You're on there. It's run by our students. We have a group of students who help us, and they do a week each. So you can have, you get a glimpse into everybody's life. There's also a blog, International Program Students at LIU, really nice and short. You're right in there as well, aren't you?
I'm on there as well.
Yeah, so it's good, but it's really good, because I think, a lot of the stuff you've said, but you're sharing a lot of what you've done here, but also the journey here, what to kind of, how to apply, or, the accommodation, and, a lot of good things. So have a look. And I think also have a look at the program page. I think that's, look at it, make sure that you know what's required, specific requirements, for example. Make sure you know all the deadlines. The application closes on the 16th of January, for example. These are things that you just need to get up to speed with. And if you have questions, you can just still ask them in the Q&A, and they'll be forwarded to us. So to those of you watching this recording, thank you very much. And now for questions, for those of you who are still here. Luke, have you got any questions?
Yes, I do. So let's go over to those. And all the live audience, you can ask your questions right now. Take advantage. For those people watching the recording, as I know a lot of people also do via this platform from us, you can also still write your questions, by the way. So they will be sent through to the staff. Now let's dig into the questions. Kiran Mai, if I say that right, asks, how do you create an environment for diverse thought process? How do you create an environment for a diverse
diverse thought process?
Thoughts, yes.
An environment for diverse thought process. So
I think the fact that we work also with different students from different programs gives a lot of room for different ideas.
Yeah, we work with both ethologists during one course, and we work with civil engineers, and you get to see things in a new light sometimes because we're very in our environmental thinking ways, and then you're like, oh, they think of it that way, and then you're like, yeah, I can see that, and then you like see things in a new light.
Okay, so and I can imagine also coming from different, because there's different nationalities on the program.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think you have a different perspective.
Yeah,
On
I think you learn a lot from each other, even if it's not necessarily biology related, but it could also be how you work or how you work better. So
so that's built into the program, really.
It is really, and of course we are not reading a book and then we have an exam trying to repeat exactly what's in the book. This is a case study, case-based courses with a problem that has no definitive answers. So that is all up to the creativity of the students to be able to solve it, and I think.
Yeah. So you then get different perspectives. And you have that diverse.
And all the groups that in the teamwork, they solve these problems in a slightly different way.
I think it's also really good that you can have like discussions with the teachers in the different courses. You can sit there and discuss with them. We think it like that, and like, what do you think a bit different? And then you get a new way to like maybe solve the problem. So that's also really good. Yeah.
Thanks. I hope that answered the question.
I hope so too. We're getting some thumbs up, I see, just so that hopefully is answering that question. Isaac is asking, I would like to know what people that have studied the program work as now. So what do they do now? We just touched upon that briefly.
We're talking about it.
Yes, we have a lot of students working at the municipality as municipality ecologists, working with sustainability questions at municipality level, and then on the regional level also for government. That's 2 parts, and some forestry companies as forest ecologists also. And then we have actually a few persons working at mining companies also, but of course always working with environmental questions. What else?
That sounds like a good example of what you said before, combining it was conservation and what was it, human life in a way. And the same thing with the mining, that you have somebody who works in the context that is necessary for the mining, but with an environmental perspective.
We have some people working with environmental planning, physical planning of where put infrastructure and houses and all these kind of things. With the input then around conservation and green infrastructure. Researchers, of course, we have a bunch of old students that are in research now also. One is in the politics also, working for the Green Party in the Swedish government right now. There's a few of them.
So what about the students who the jobs they get? Do they stay in Sweden, or do they tend to go back to their countries, or do you know?
Most of them that comes from abroad goes back, but a few of them has decided to stay in Sweden also. So
no, some. What do you want to do? Do you know?
It depends on the job, because if Swedish is a requirement, writing, scientific writing in Swedish, that will not be something I will be able to do anytime soon. But if it's an English position, then that would be great. Contact me. No.
He might have PhD positions. Who knows? Thank you. All right, next. Have we got a next question?
Yes, thanks for that. Eriola is asking, are adaptation, resilience, and mitigation part of the class?
Yes, they're sort of built in all these courses. Resilience of ecosystems is based upon functional ecosystems with a high biodiversity. So I think that is built in within the questions around agriculture and fisheries and forestry, and the basic questions around modeling and population biology is also about adaptation and mitigation, and especially the case studies course in conservation biology, where you're trying to optimize restoration of rainforest. That's also about taking care of the environmental problem caused by, in this case, oil palm plantations. So I think it's sort of built in the program.
I would agree.
Nice.
Okay, great. Good to hear. Thank you. Next question from Maria. Are there any possibilities of fully funded master degrees for international students?
We do have some scholarships. They are not fully funded though, and they are for non-EU citizens. If you're an EU citizen, it is free. You don't have to pay anything, because Swedish students don't pay. So then EU students also get to study for free. So as a non-EU student, you can apply for an LIU scholarship. You apply for this after you've been admitted. So there's a window early April. The results will be out 30th of March. And after that, there'll be a window of application for the LIU scholarship. But the LIU scholarship tends to be a partial fee waiver. So you get either 25, 50 or 75% off the tuition fee, but nothing for cost of living. But that is an option. To be eligible for that, you have to have been admitted, of course, but also you have to have applied on time and ranked this program as your first choice when you do the application at universityadmissions.se. You can apply for up to 4 programs, either same university or 4 different Swedish universities. But the one you want a scholarship to needs to be number 1. There's also a Swedish Institute scholarship program, which only applies to certain countries. Have a look, SI Global Professionals, I think it's called. That application period is in February. That's a really good scholarship. It covers tuition and cost of living. But it's very competitive and as I said, only open to certain nationalities. But so that's how it works with our scholarships.
Okay, great. Thank you. I sent the link as well to the scholarship page, so you saw that on the screen. If you click that, you can, at your own pace after the webinar, have a look at the options. Also, already in the chat, I also put the link to the program overview. So from there, you can also still find a lot of information, just for you to know if you, still want to look at it after the webinar. Let's go on with the next question. We did get one from Giselle. It's asking, what are the requirements to apply? You did mention something about this already. Is there something you want to add or can add to this?
So the requirements, I mean, you have the general requirements, which will be English level. So it's IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 90, or depending on which country you're from. Some countries you're exempt. If you've studied in Germany at a certain level, you can use that instead. So have a look at universityadmissions.se. They have country-specific information. But then you also have to have certain specific requirements, which is really, really important that you have a look at. And it's how many credits in biology?
Ooh.
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
No,
I need to, but on the homepage, I don't remember the exact number, but on the homepage that Luke was showing them, that's all of these information.
All this information is there. So the general requirements and the specific requirements, you need to meet those. And then you apply. You apply by the 16th of January at universityadmissions.se. And if you're an EU student, it is really important that you upload a copy of your passport, because if you don't prove to us that you are an EU student, we won't be able to make sure that you're not a fee payer, because you then don't have to pay the application fee either. And then you submit your documentation, transcript and diploma. You should also submit a syllabus if you're unsure whether your courses qualify as being enough biology or sustainable development to actually meet the specific requirements. So add the syllabus just to make sure, because then I think I would just add everything where you think this is ecology or biology. It doesn't matter if it's too much, like just put up everything. That's what I did. And then it worked. Just to be safe. So I hope that answered the question about the actual application process.
Okay, I hope so too. Let's see, we did get a follow-up question a bit about the English requirement. Eriola, so you mentioned the IELTS test. How about the Duolingo test, he asks?
I think it's just TOEFL and IELTS.
It's TOEFL, IELTS. There are a couple of others. You can have a look at, again, university admissions. They have them listed. I think there's like a Cambridge test as well.
Yeah, but
There's something, but it should be generally IELTS and TOEFL.
And make sure you do it early enough, because sometimes it takes time to get your results.
Yeah. And one of them, they have to send it directly to the university. I don't know which one that is. But make sure you book soon. But also check out what country you're from. I mean, if you've done your bachelor in English, it needs to say on the diploma or transcript that it was taught entirely in English. You would be exempt. Or if you have a certain level of English at your high school level, again. So have a look. But otherwise, it's IELTS and TOEFL that we recommend.
Okay, thank you very much. Question from Alma. In the case studies or internship, is it possible to specialize in marine or limnology problems?
In the case studies course is mostly related to terrestrial conservation, but internship for sure. That's just depending on which company or organization you're going to team up with. And of course, the whole internship, you can specialize in limnology or marine biology if you want to. Then you have a full year of
thesis work.
Your thesis work.
I mean, in the thesis work. Sorry.
So you have that. So
work.
for your thesis work, you can.
For the thesis work, of course.
So you have a whole year. So you could do the 6-week internship. Do some people do the 6-week internship and then end up doing the thesis at the same place?
A few has done that also.
Okay.
And a few of them ended up at the internship place as their workplace after finishing the studies also.
Okay. And same thing with the thesis place?
A few of them, yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Even though you are seldom doing the thesis work inside a company, but it could be a company-related question. As your butterfly studies are actually...
It's part of a bigger project of Sweden.
Okay, you'll be chasing butterflies for the rest of your life.
Maybe.
I hope that answered the question.
Okay, I hope so as well. Otherwise, let us know. We still have some minutes left for last questions. Let me check. We've answered most of them already. Rilwan is still asking a question about the option of PhD scholarships after the master. Can you say something about that?
PhD positions are job vacancies, so it's a paid position. You do what, 4 years? Is it?
Yeah, 4 years. Usually in practice it's 5 years. You have 1 year sort of teaching stuff within, so usually it takes 5 years, but 4 years of research.
And you're expected to teach, but you actually become a member of faculty, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and you get paid. But that means you can't apply for a PhD. You actually have to find a vacancy. You do have some students who have ended up doing their PhD.
For sure. Absolutely.
But you need to have funding.
Yeah, you need to have funding. Usually it's a research group that has some fundings, and they put out a job vacancy, and it's an open position for a PhD, and then it's just to apply for it. And then you hopefully come for interview and present that you have a brilliant program and a thesis behind you, and then they take you.
Is it competitive?
Yeah.
So it is, because you do, it's not like you have to get out a second mortgage to be able to pay for it. You can live quite, comfortably. So I hope that explained how what it looks like in Sweden.
I hope so too. Otherwise, let us know. And I think those were the questions we've received so far. Checking the chat if there was a question. I think we took care of it. Yes. And well, there was a question if it was being recorded before. Just to mention that yes, the session is being recorded. It will be sent through to all the people automatically. Actually, if you join late, you can even stay on. Just stay on, and it starts within minutes. It restarts. So if you miss the beginning, then you just can stay on and start watching it. For people watching the recording, you can also write your questions and answer polls. Having said that, the polling, thanks already for those people for your answers. That helps to get an idea of your interest and your background. And with that, I just see if there's any more questions. No, so I think slowly we can round off the session. I think they were all taken care of. I will still send the link onto the application in a second, and in the chat a link to the student community. So I think that could be interesting for those people all joined in the webinar between yourselves. So the students between you can chat and network and exchange tips in this student community. It's designed for all you students, where you can help each other. Basically, maybe there's somebody from the same country, or you, who knows, you end up finding a house together if that is what you're looking for. So do take advantage of that. All right. Over to you, Therese. I think there's no more questions.
Okay.
And
Well, we're going to round up. Thank you for the
round up.
questions that we've had. From each of you, what's your favorite thing about the program? And what's your favorite thing about teaching on the program or being the program coordinator?
Yeah, the favorite thing is, of course, all the students, and it is really.
Now you know what you have to say.
But when they are working hard on solving these environmental problems, and they come up with brilliant ideas, and have a lot of nice discussions, and then of course all this full year master thesis project where we together try to analyze data and come up with new exciting results, and sometimes we also end up with publishing the results in scientific papers, and super fun.
What about you?
I think my favorite thing is both the internship, because it was just so fun and I learned so much, and I just wanted to go out working right away because
you just wanted to play with fire.
Yeah.
Admit it,
or looking at flowers. But then it's the master thesis, because it's one whole year that you can really like dive into what you like, as I've done, like doing inventory of mosses and the lichens, and it's just so fun, and then analyzing it and hopefully getting some good results.
Okay. And what about you?
I think overall this program is just so cool. It is a lot of work, like be prepared to put the work in, but I felt like I learned so much that in 3 years of my bachelor program, I will have never gotten all of this experience that I have now. And I think it also empowers you a lot to think that you can actually work in this area. So I think overall, it's a really, really cool program.
It sounds like this program will help you and enable you to kind of basically use your passion and actually make a living out of what's something that you're actually passionate about already. Yeah, that's yeah.
I've been chasing butterflies since I was 25.
Yeah.
So
and you still
I made a living. I still do. So.
You still haven't caught any, so you keep chasing. You should go for the fires or the flowers instead. Oh, thank you. It's been really interesting and great questions from the viewers as well. Just like to say thank you. Don't forget Instagram, blog. We do also have a podcast. Are you in the podcast?
No.
You
will not
find me there. You haven't been a guest in the podcast. But there's also a podcast, Fika with us. Again, you get a lot of not program-specific tips, but tips on moving here, study tips, kind of, a lot of good information. So have a look. Our webpage, liu.sc/education. You can find links to all these things that I just mentioned. So get in touch, ask us questions, ask our students questions. That's the best answers. So thank you again, and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.